through some of the features of Google Sheets, the basic ones. So we're going to go over basic formatting, data sorting, creating basic formula and sheets such as sum, average, minimum, maximum, count, count A, count if. Um, so in order to make it interactive, this is what we are going to do in this short video. So I have this sheet. We're going to open the sheet, which is called training sheet, and then you're going to make a copy of it so you can edit your copy. In order to make a copy of a sheet, you go to File, and then you click on Make a Copy. When you click on Make a Copy, um, the default name will be copy of, and then you can give it the name what you want, and then it will tell you where it's located. So currently this sheet is located in my training folder. If you want it elsewhere, you click on the folder and you change where you want it to be. So you can give it a name. Instead of having it ending by hyphen, you can put your name, and then you can choose where you want to save it, when you want it to, where you want it to be. I'm going to cancel for now because I'm going to use that. This is my copy. You're going to be working on your copy. So the first task would be to do some basic formatting. Basic formatting, for example, if I want these the headers to be bold, I highlight them, and then I can click on this bold and make it bold. I can make it centered if I want, and so on. For example, if I want all this to be centered, I can click on column A and then click here on the alignment and then put it centered, and so on. I'm going to undo this one because I don't prefer the names to be centered. However, I do prefer the numbers to be centered, so I'm going to put the numbers in the middle. I'm going to put the gender in the middle as well. So this is how you sort the sheet the way you want. I'm going to also put some outline. So I'm going to click on this small table, and then I'm going to click on outlining all cells, and that will give it a nice outline. I can put like the outside ones to be in a box. However, I want the box to be thicker, so I click on the border style and make it thicker, and I click a box, and that puts it in a nice box. So this is a nice format. I can also change the color of the cells by changing the fill. I can choose, for example, the student name to be beige color or whatever color you want to do. We will cover conditional formatting in a different video. So this is basic formatting on how you want your sheet to look like. The next thing I want to go through with you is to show you how you can sort the data in the way you want. So for example, I want to sort the data in alphabetical order as per the student name. So if I go to data and I see that there is an option to sort sheet, and then it's telling me to sort sheet by column F, A to Z. Why column F? It's because my cursor is in column F. So like the system thinks that I want to sort the data by this column. So you need to be careful. If you're doing sort data, you need to be where your cursor needs to be where it needs to be. However, I want to show you one thing. If I go to sort sheet and then do sort sheet by column A to Z, I do that, it will include your header in the sorting. Okay, so this is very, very important. I'm going to undo, and then I'm going to show you how you can sort your data fields rather than the whole sheet. So I do not include the headers in my sorting. I highlight the cells that contain data, but not the headers. And then I'm going to go to data, and instead of sort sheet, I'm going to go to sort range. Okay, and I'm going to go sort range by column A if it is column A that I want. If it is not column A, I can do advanced search. Let's say I want the females to be first, so I go by column C first. So I want the females first. Then I want them to be by surname, so it's going to be column B, and then by first name, and then column A. So now it will sort females, then males, because column C is going to be alphabetical, females, then males. Then column B, alphabetical, so per surname, and then column A, and then it's going to sort. So you see now I've got my females first, and then I've got my males after. If I discover, no, this is not what I want, I actually want them by surname, I go again, I go to data, and then again sort range, and then custom. I don't want it by column A, I want it by column B first, and then by column A. I don't care whether it's a male or a female, I want them in alphabetical order per surname. If I want to move my surname to be the first column, all I need to do is actually, when I highlight the whole column by clicking on the column the letter that holds the column name, you see that there is a small hand that appears. If I click on it, it looks like it grabbed this column and I can move it. So what I did now, I moved the surname to be the first column I want. This is how you can move columns. This is also how you can move rows up and down if you want. So you go to the beginning of the row, grab it and move it up or down. Now that we've gone through the sorting data alphabetically, I want to rename the sheet. I want to show you how you can rename the sheet. Whenever you create a sheet, it's going to be called sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and so on. So I'm going to go to sheet 1, I'm going to rename it. Click on, to do that, we're going to click on the triangle, and then there is an option to rename the sheet, and I'm going to call that sheet data, because it holds the original data that I have. I also going to change the color of that sheet. If you can see, there is a small green line underneath. I'm going to change that color. Originally it had no color, but I want it to be red. So this is helpful if you've got too many sheets, too many tabs, if you have one or two tabs to highlight, so they're easily spotted rather than having to go through the names of the sheet. I don't recommend to color every sheet or every tab, because that will be confusing. Highlight a few if you've got too many. That makes it visible and easily to be noticed. So I'm going to highlight the sheet. This is how I change the color of the sheet, and I'm going to duplicate the sheet because I want to keep my data, my original data set untagged. So I'm going to play with the formulas, but I'm not going to do it in the main one. I'm going to make a copy of it. I'm going to duplicate the sheet. To do that also, it's the triangle, and there is an option to duplicate the sheet. When you duplicate a sheet, it calls it copy of, and it gives it the same color. Okay, hang on, I don't want it to have the same color. I'm going to give it a different color so I don't get them confused. So this is the copy of data, and basically I'm going to change the name for this one, practice formula. Okay, this is where I'm going to practice my formula, and I'm going to go back to my data sheet, and I want to lock it. I want to lock it so no one can actually edit it. So click again on the triangle, and then you have to protect the sheet, and then it allows you to set permissions. You can set permission as restrict who can edit it, and at the moment it's only you, so it's only me. So now I can see a lock next to data. That means this sheet is locked, only I can edit it. You can change the access, you can allow other people to edit it if you want, but usually if it is an original source of data, I try to keep it intact, especially if I'm collecting data from a form, a Google form. I have the data coming from the form locked, and then I duplicate and I use the copies for my formulas. Now we're going to use the copy to create some formulas. So some basic formula are set in here. So you see the sigma sign and it has functions in it. So basically I can I can highlight um, these. Whenever I want to insert a formula, I start with the equal sign. So I want to see the average for that students. Now, because uh, Google's becoming more clever, it suggests things to you. So it is actually suggesting to me, do I want to average these? However, it suggests from C2 to F2, so it's including the gender in it. So if I just click enter, it's going to take that formula that it suggests to me, and it's going to average from C2 to F2. How do I know? I can double click and I can read, but it also puts it in that little square, highlighted square, telling me where from. So I'm going to change this C2 because I don't want it to be from C2, because C2 is not actually a grade, and I'm going to change it to D2. It's going to be D2 to F2. So that is giving me the average for that student. And now another suggestion pops in saying, do I want the average for the rest of the students? If I click yes, it's going to do that. If I'm not happy with that many decimal places, I can highlight the whole column, and you see those zeros. I can reduce the number of decimal columns, that decimal numbers, and that I can put it as 1 if I want. So that will give it 1 decimal place, or none if I want. Now I need to give it a header, average per student. Okay. So this is giving me the average grade for every student, but I can also average in here. If I want to average for the class, I put again, it's suggesting again, and the suggestion is correct, and I'm going to remove the decimal places, and that's the class average. That's going to be class average. Okay. Again, if I put here equal, it's going to do the same. If I want to copy that formula that I put here, I can copy it, Command C, or click and then copy. And if I paste it in here, it will copy the same formula, but it will take the fields that apply to this cell. So for example, this cell, which is D8, is averaging D2 to D7. Now E8 will average E2 to E7. It replicates the formula with the same cells, like in the same places, and so on. So if you copy a cell, it will copy the formula and paste it there, unless you right click and do a special paste and then decide what you want to, if you want something different. Okay. Now, if I want something else, I want to show the class minimum, I can do equal, and then you see again, it is asking me for minimum, but it's going from D2 to D7. Yes, this is what I want. I want the minimum. Just because I typed class minimum, Google is suggesting this to me, but if I don't find it, I put equal, it's suggesting the maximum. Let's do that, the maximum. In case I don't find them, where do I go? It's also suggesting the sum. It's making things much, much easier for you. But if I go here, for example, equal, it doesn't know, or it cannot suggest anything to me because it's not very obvious what I want to do. So I can go to this formula, the functions, and then I can find the sum, average, count, maximum, minimum. Let's do a count, okay? And then when I press on a formula, it opens those brackets, allowing me to put data fields. So what do I want to count? I want to count how many entries are there. So I want to count here, I've got 6. If I try to also count the next one, let's do count for the gender ones. See how many entries for gender I have. It's giving me 0. Why is that? Why one of them gave me 6 and one of them gave me 0, even though I know that they should be equal? It's because the formula count can only count numbers. However, if I want to count entries and not numbers, instead of count, I need to use another formula, which is count A. Count A actually counts entries and not just numbers. If I put count A, make sure to close the bracket, and then it is going to count 6 for me. The next one I want to show you is count if. So I'm going to put count if. I'm going to count how many males and how many females. So for count if, at first I need to highlight the data field. So I'm going to count from C2 to C7, and I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to put a bracket to tell what do I want to count. I need to put my entry in quotation. I'm going to put quotation, I'm going to put M, and then a close quotation and close bracket. So it's going to count between C2 and C7. So this is the data field, and it's going to count the M's. Let's see, it's counting 4 males, okay? I'm going to also count the females. Again, count if, and then I'm going to select the same data field, comma, quotation, F, quotation closed, and then close bracket, and then it's going to be 2 females. So this is males and this is females. So the count if counts with a specific condition. So this is counting the males, this is counting the females. Count A counts all entries, whether they're numbers or not, and count can only count numbers. Okay, now this is very useful if you're trying to sort out lists. Let's, for example, if you have yes or no in terms of consent, and you want to see how many yes, how many no, you can count those. You can filter them if you want, but sometimes if you just insert a formula, it allows you to count automatically as the data is coming in. I think these are the basic things that we wanted to do with the sheet for today. I hope you find this useful, and more to come with more practice on Sheets. Sheets has so many options to use, and is very useful to work with data and give it a visual as well, which we'll cover with upcoming videos.